Okay, today we're going to do 8-3 multiplication property of exponents. Okay, so this is another exponent rule. Okay, so as hopefully you've remembered, if you have 5 cubed, okay, that's the same as just saying 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, well, if you have 5 cubed times 5 to the 4th, okay, that's 5 times 5 times 5 times 4 more. Okay, or you could just say it's 5 to the 7th. Okay, so all you did in whatever 5 to the 7th is. Okay, so what you did is you added the 3 and the 4. You added the exponents. If you have the same base, you can add the exponents. So that is your rule. Multiplying powers with the same base. Okay, so what you do is you add your exponents. Okay, so if you have 3 to the 5th times 3 to the 4th, that just is 3. You add the 4 and 5 and the 4, so it's 3 to the 9th. Okay, if you have h squared times h to the 9th, then you would add them, 2 and 9, and get h to the 11th. So that's your rule. Now sometimes there'll be negatives in there, and we'll get to that. We'll do some examples. Okay, that's the only rule we're learning today though. Okay, so first example, again, 11 to the 4th times 11 cubed equals 11 to the 7th. Okay, now depending on what the directions say, you might actually have to do that. You can put that in your calculator, it's fine. Okay, but right now we're just simplifying it. So 2 to the 5th times 2 squared times 2 to the negative 1. Here, let's number these. 1, 2. Okay, so now this time you're going to add 3 numbers together. Okay, and one of them's negative. Okay, so this becomes 5, 6, 7, and then minus 1, so 2 to the 6th. Okay. 3, 5 to the negative 2 times 5 squared. Okay, well, negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so 5 to the 0, and we know that anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay. Now it's the same with variables. X to the 4th times x squared, as long as the base, remember this is the base, the big number is the base, as long as those are the same, you add your exponents. And remember that this is really a 1 right here. Okay, so 1 plus 4 plus 2, so x to the 7th. Okay. Okay, now we'll do a little bit harder ones. 2 into the 5th times 3 into the negative 2. Now here's what you have to remember, okay? This 5 only goes to the n, and the negative 2 only goes to the n. So the 2 and the 3, you can multiply together, 2 times 3, and then you have the n, 5 plus negative 2. Okay, so we have 6n cubed, because 5 plus negative 2. Okay, so you can multiply together the big numbers, the bases. Okay, 6y squared times 3y cubed times 2y to the negative 4th. Okay, so we're going to multiply the 6 and the 3 and the 2. Okay, so 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, and then we have y, and then we're going to add these together. So 2 plus 3 is 5, minus 4, so to the first, or just 36y. Either way. Okay, number 7, c to the 4th times d cubed times c to the negative 7th. Okay, now here, okay, you only combine the ones that have like bases. Okay, so, or you can only add their exponents. So that's going to become c to the negative 3 times d cubed. Okay, so you just leave it like that. Okay, but since this is a negative right here from our rule that we learned in 8-1, Okay, this is going to become d cubed on the top and c cubed on the bottom. Okay, so you have to keep simplifying it. Okay, you have to keep doing it. Okay, a few more examples. Okay, I think we're on number 8. Okay, and it's 5x times, and they might put it in parentheses, I don't know, times 3x to the 8th. They might just put a little dot. Okay, so again, we can multiply the big numbers. 5 times 2 is 10, times 3 is 30. And then our variables, remember this is a 1 right here. Okay, so we're going to add, since we have an x and an x, that's going to be x to the 9th and then a y to the 4th. Okay, because you're going to add those. Because this is really like, say, if we were to write this out, it'd be 5x, 2 with 4 y's, times 3 with 8 x's. Okay, so if you combine all these x's, it's really 9 x's and we have 4 y's. Okay? Now, we're going to combine our scientific notation and our exponent rules here. Okay, so we have 7 times 10 squared times 4 times 10 to the 5th. Okay, so when we have two things in scientific notation, you're going to multiply the whole or the integer together. So 7 times 4 is 28. And then, since this base is the same, 10's the base, and we can just add that together to get 10 to the 7th. Okay, now the problem is this isn't in scientific necessarily. Okay, so we have to move it one more decimal over. So 2.8 times 10 to the 8th, you would add an 8. If you were moving it the other way, you would subtract 1. Or you add a 1, not an 8. Uh-oh, my daughter's crying, if you can hear. 2.5 times 10 to the 8th times 6 times 10 cubed. Okay, so 2.5 times 6 is 1.5. I'm sorry, it's not 1.5, it's 15. Whoops, I kind of skipped ahead here. Sorry. It's 15 times 10, and then we just add, so 10 to the 11th. Okay. Now this is not in scientific, so I already skipped ahead a little. So we move it over 1, so 1.5. So again, we're going to add 1 times 10 to the 12th. Okay. Okay, last example, and then we're done. 9 times 10 to the negative 6 times 7 times 10 to the negative 9th. Okay, so 9 times 7 is 63. We just multiply the 9 and the 7 times 10, and we just add the negative 6 and the negative 9. So that's going to give you negative 15. My child is screaming, if you can hear. Okay, and then, so again, we got to move it to the left. Okay, so we're going to add 1. Okay, so this becomes 6.3 times 10 to the negative 14. So when you add to a negative, it does that. Okay, that's it.